How's it going, everybody? That's Joe from Slow and Fast Out. As you can see behind me, got a couple of things in the garage, So let me show you what we have going on here. So over here, that is my 964 that I've had a number of years. It's filthy right now. It's so bad that my lovely wife actually wrote a note in the dust on it. Don't judge me too much. And as you see underneath there, right, I've moved it around the garage a handful, but it's being a 964, it's leaking some oil, so I'll be doing a rebuild video at some point in the future on that. But that right there is not what we were here for. This is what we were here for. This is my new, old, 37-year-old, older than me, 1982 Porsche SC. It's a 3-liter. It is in platinum metallic. It has the RSR 7s in front, 7s in rear, original Fuchs. Well, not original to the car, but they are original Fuchs wheels. As you can see, I have some diagnostics tools, as well as the heater pipe there, one of the heater pipes. And as you can see in here, there's a whole bunch of stuff right here that is now on the floor. So one of the issues that, and I knew it when I bought it, had a surging idle, a little bit down on power, under 2,500 RPM. So did some diagnostics on it and find out that the fuel pump is running at half capacity. So instead of 2 liters a minute, it's running about 1. So that could explain some of the surging idle, right, as the CIS and warm-up regulator and all that stuff are compensating for each other, as well as the lack of power. So it's a factory sunroof car. It's a factory AC car, and it has all the AC components. They're just not installed. I'm in Houston, so I will absolutely be getting that fixed. But full James May spec interior. It's brown on brown with a side of brown. So if you like brown, this is the car for you. Let me hop in here. There's just under 245,000 miles on it. So the car has been to the moon, effectively, and the 85-mile-an-hour speedometer, thanks to U.S. regulations trying to get everyone to use less fuel and be more fuel efficient in the early 80s. And it only happened, they only had them for, I think, 2 years, 81, 82, 83, something like that. I think it's kind of cool, kind of unique, something a little bit different. So I'm going to leave it. They make a retrofit kit, or you can get them retrofitted to be the 160-mile-an-hour speedometer. But there's something special and cool about burying a speedo and not going ludicrously fast. But anyway, so what we're going to be doing today is pulling out the fuel pump, have a new one on order from Pelican Parts. And once we get that in, we'll be able to get it installed and test the fuel pressure and see how it's going. But in the meantime, let's get that out of there, so we have a little bit more room to jack the car up and start pulling some stuff out. By the way, if you have an old 911 and you don't have one of these jack pads, spend 30 bucks, whatever it is, well worth it. So first off, we're going to jack up the car. you got to give it the good old shake test to make sure your jack stands are set up properly. Alright, and anyone that's working on a car, new or old, I would highly suggest you pick up a service manual. This happens to be a Bentley brand, which is one that tends to be used often by the old 911 guys. I'm sure they do all kinds of other vehicles. I just don't know. But before actually pulling stuff apart and figuring out, instead of just going in blindly, what you want to do is you want to take a look. Okay, fuel pump wiring. No, I don't need to do that. Fuel pump current draw. So I don't need to do any of this stuff necessarily. I know it's getting power. I just know the flow rate isn't what it should be. But by looking at the manual, it'll actually tell you, okay, fuel pump, right? Beneath the car, let me move this here, behind the fuel tank, blah, 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 blah. Talks you through how you actually replace, what's the actual process, right? How do you get the fuel pump out? So you're not, if you're like me and you've done this, you're not pulling random stuff apart on the car to try and get it figured out. You can actually follow a very specific process here, follow the instructions, and make your life easy. So, Bentley catalog, or Bentley, well, not a catalog, service manual, there we go. I'll get there eventually, Joe. Get one if you're working on a car, highly, highly recommended. It was right about here where I realized I really need to get a lift. Crawling around underneath the car, even with the creeper, makes it quite difficult to do anything underneath there. Or I need to get some super tall jack stands or something. But make it happen. Get adapt, improvise, and overcome. And there you have it. This is the old fuel pump. It was put in 20 years ago. There's about 50,000 miles on it. So it shouldn't have gone bad, but it happens. Sorry about the noise, someone's weed whacking next door. But so like I said, we have a new one of these on the way, and we'll go ahead and swap it out when it gets here and see how it goes.